Welcome to the Human Dimensions of Sustainability class for Spring 2020. I just came out to make this video and got distracted by some squirrel shenanigans. I'll share that with you. I really enjoy teaching this course, and I've heard that students really enjoy taking the course, but I'll let you be the judge of that. So I imagine some of you have taken online courses before and some of you have not, and I know that they can feel really impersonal, so I wanted to have a little introduction today. Also, I'm challenging myself to use new technological tools in teaching this semester. I am forcing myself to do everything I'm asking you to do, and so that means video, podcasts, all different kinds of things. I hold myself to high standards as well as holding students to high standards, so I just wanted to let you know I have the same standards for myself as I do for you. I don't want to use very much narrated PowerPoint. I'm going to do a little one in a minute just to make sure that we have the details of the course straight. But more than that, I wanted to take a couple of minutes and let you know what the real purpose of this class is to think about. So you've probably learned, if you're in human development and family sciences, you've learned a lot about family systems. Well, you probably also know that there are earth systems and social systems, political systems, economic systems. And for any of you who are in environmental studies, you've been studying ecosystems. So this course really focuses on the intersection, the interdependence of human systems and natural systems. How does the natural world influence us and our health and well-being? And how do we influence the natural world? How do those work together? There's some good news and there's some bad news. There's a little bit of doom and gloom, but in this class there's a lot of focus on creativity, imagination, and solutions. And that's what I really want to focus on. We have to deal with the facts as they are, and so we'll spend a little bit of time on that in this first module, what's going on in the state of the world. But there's a lot of good work going on in terms of thinking creatively about solutions and how we can live together in a much more sustainable way in our world. So that's going to be a big focus of the class. Here's how to find me, 259 Louise Pound Hall. If you come here for my office hours, I have a chair. You're welcome to sit in it. I also have a freezer actually, with spit in it. If you want to talk about stress hormones, we can do that. But don't put your lunch in the fridge. That I would not do many recorded PowerPoints, but I just wanted to be able to give you an overview of the course so you know what to expect. And so you might be wondering what Human Dimensions of Sustainability is, what we're going to be focusing on. And these are some of the guiding questions for the class. At the beginning, especially this first module, we'll be exploring what is sustainability, and how it's related to people, their relationships, environments, economic systems, because you've probably mostly heard of sustainability in application to environments and ecosystems. So we'll explore what human sustainability is, how we measure it, what some indicators of sustainability are, and how human development and ecological systems are conceptualized, how they interact with each other, and then how we can use the concept of sustainability to promote the health and well-being of both people, including human systems and natural environments. So the way the course is organized, what you can expect, there are 3 modules. The first module will focus on the definitions of sustainability, as I mentioned, and also initiatives worldwide, so really globally and internationally. We're also going to explore the influence of natural environments on our own well-being and our interdependence with human and natural systems. The second module will focus more on food, culture, and health. And the third module will focus on economic sustainability of families and communities. For each module, the assignments are described in each module outline. So there will be a list of the dates for all of the individual assignments and the due dates. And within each module, there will be individual assignments, small group and large group discussions, and one group project per module. But please don't be deterred by that. And as a review, because we're thinking about systems, ecological systems, most of you are familiar with Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory. And so we'll do a quick overview of that as the foundation and frame for the course. And so the term ecology comes from the Greek oikos. You might know of Greek yogurt that goes by that name, but it's an interdisciplinary and scientific study of interactions between organisms and their environments. And so whether it's people in their environments or plants and animals in their environments. And so ecology is also the study of ecosystems. And ecosystems describe the web or network of relations among organisms at different scales of organization. So from micro to macro. Applied to human development, which was Yuri Bronfenbrenner's focus, it's the scientific study of the progressive mutual accommodation throughout the life course between an active growing human being. This is important because human beings aren't passive. Children aren't sponges. They very actively contribute to their own development, and the changing properties of the immediate settings in which the developing person lives, as this process is affected by the relations between these settings and by the larger contexts in which settings are embedded. So think in terms of concentric circles from micro, the most proximal system where systems where children are found and families are found, to exosystems, communities, and macrosystems, cultures, all also embedded within the chronosystem or time, past, present, and future. So in terms of nature, where do you find that? And I would argue that nature crosses all of those ecosystems. But I want to defer this discussion a little bit until you have your discussions in your small groups this week. So then what is sustainability? And this is just a starting point. According to John Dernbach, something's environmentally or ecologically sustainable when it protects, restores, or regenerates the environment rather than degrades it. And of course, this is in reference to the environment, but we can think about that in terms of individuals, families, communities, ecosystems, businesses, countries. So when we apply this to the environment, it means that the environment can meet its needs without intervention. And by meeting its needs, it can stay in balance. It has regenerative capacity. And the term sustainability has really moved from fringe to vernacular, and it can be applied to many aspects of systems, from environment to healthcare. And so I also want to clarify that this is really different than conservation, because conservation implies status quo, but the status quo might not be sustainable. So sustainability, think in terms of health and regenerative capacity. So things that can be sustainable, we talked about that. So when we talk about human sustainability, think about what processes, activities, systems, resources can restore or regenerate individuals, families, and communities. What do we need? What resources, what processes, what activities and experiences? And then on the flip side, what processes or activities might degrade or undermine human sustainability, well-being? And then what are key indicators of human sustainability? When do we know that we are thriving and regenerating? Well, one perspective that you may be familiar with is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the reason that I put not a hierarchy of needs here is because Maslow had physiological as the first level, but and of course we all need to have our physiological needs met, but it's much more horizontal than he conceptualized it, because feelings of safety and love and belongingness, for example, are absolutely essential to physiological well-being. Other indicators of human sustainability that we could look at include infant mortality or survival rate, life expectancy, immunization rate, literacy rate, food security. These are some of the indicators that we'll be looking at across the semester to think about how sustainable different communities and cultures, societies are. So think about interacting in interdependent systems. The bottom four are really human systems, but to better differentiate within those human systems. Think about how nature influences and is influenced by social, political, economic systems. And then the, the human system piece just encompasses all of the human systems that are not named there. So families and communities generally. I want you to think about interdependence. So the relationships between ecosystems and their elements, and that means natural ecosystems and human ecosystems that support life. So this very first week, we're going to be thinking about how do people depend on the natural world and what are some of the influences of natural environments on human health and well-being. In the topics of sustainability, people often focus on what are the human impacts on the natural world. But at this time, we're really going to think about what are the impacts of the natural world on our well-being. And so that is going to lead us into your very first assignment for the semester. For your first assignment, you need to find a place outdoors in a natural environment. And so that could be out of town, or it could be an environment with many natural elements on campus or near where you live. But set aside an hour and leave your electronic devices at home or in your car. Bring a notebook with you and spend at least 40 minutes just observing everything around you and using all of your senses. What do you smell? What do you hear? How do you feel? And then after 40 minutes, begin to write down your observations and your thoughts about what you're experiencing. When you get back to your computer, type a one-page description of the experience and your reflections about it and upload it. You can find that assignment in Module 1.